Hello everyone, welcome to this session. In the last session, we have understood that what SVM is and the key concepts in SVM. So in this session, we will have an overview of the different types of SVM. The first one, the easiest one, we call it the linear SVM hard margin classifier. So as we can see, this data distribution, right? So here we can have a hyperplane to perfectly separate the two classes because this is linearly separable, right? So this one is the simplest one. We call it linear SVM hard margin classifier. However, in real world, the data, most of them are not linearly separable. So let's see how this data looks like. The first kind, we have some outliers. So we can see some data here, some data here. So we can see this one, outliers. This one, outliers. So if we separate them by a hyperplane, there will be outliers that is misclassified, right? So this is the first kind. The second kind is that the distribution is not linearly distributed. So for example, this one. Intuitively, we can see to classify them, there is a circle to classify them, right? So this is another kind, non-linearly distributed. Third one, multi-class. Between any two classes is linearly separable, but there are more than two classes. So in all of these cases, we can't find a hyperplane to separate them appropriately. So this leads to other types of SVMs. First one, let's see the linear SVM. Instead of hard margin, we call it a soft margin. So this is for this kind of data. So we can see this one, there are outliers. Although we can't separate them by a hyperplane, but we can see the data set is linearly separable, right? So in this way, if we separate it, we can allow for some misclassification. So for example, this point is misclassified. This is also, right, misclassified. So we can allow misclassification, but the penalty will be provided to try to avoid it as much as possible. So there is a trade-off. So this one, we call it linear SVM soft margin classifier. For other data characteristics, for example, this one, this is even not nearly linearly separable. It's nonlinear the character is nonlinear. So we can see this not linearly separable in the two-dimensional space for this case. But however, we can do a mapping. We make it the three-dimensional space, and we can find in the three-dimensional space it's linearly separable. Then we can use a hyperplane to separate it, right? So this one we call it nonlinear SVM because the mapping, we will have a nonlinear mapping, right? So this is the third kind. The last kind is a multi-class of SVM. So natively, SVM is a binary classifier. So by just simply use SVM, it can't solve multi-class classification problem. But we do have some solutions, right, to use binary classifier to solve multi-class classification problem. The solution is to transform it into multiple binary classification problem. So we will have a 1 versus 1 or 1 versus rest. So such classifications, so which we will discuss in later sessions. So that's all for this session. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.